Okay guys, like promised, I'm doing the Itaste MVP review, also the Aspire nautilus. You can see that's not a nautilus, no, camera's over side, not a nautilus on there, that's an iClear 30. I'll explain why there's an iClear 30 on there in a minute. Liquids, I'm using D-Tang, which this one is cream cake, good liquid. Wouldn't be something I want to vape all day, every day, day in, day out, but it's nice to have. The reason I put it in there is because this is my primary tank, this is my secondary for when I want something different. I'm getting a bit bored of menthol. Again, all my liquids I use are D-Tang because that's our local vape guy, plus my brother works there, so life's easier. That's the box for the iClear 30 at the moment. The reason it's not in the box is because it's actually charging the camera that I'm using on. It comes with a charger, it's a 3-plug adapter, it's got iPhone charger, a general adapter for, I'm not even sure what product, and then there's a Samsung adapter. So it covers your basic ones. It doesn't have iPhone 5 or 5S adapters, or 5SC or whatever the fuck their new ones are, I've lost track. I'll just show you the box. It comes in that. Oh, so that just fits in there, your iClear will be in there. There's a plastic tag there, and you pull that out. Nice impact resistant foam. It's got some give in it, so if it gets dropped it doesn't get damaged. More foam. Alright, well your iClear 30 goes here and your mouthpiece there. You've got your charge cable, and obviously you can see the different adapters on the charge cables. That's your Samsung, that's your iPhone, that's the other one. Then you've got your USB bit and your wire wraps around there. You've got your own beauty ring that comes with the iClear, designed for the iClear 30. Oh look, that's where the little washer went. That's where the O-ring went. Alright, well I'll pop that in this. All comes nicely boxed. It tells you on the side here what it can charge, like phones, cameras, games and iPods. Things along them lines. You can also get this with the iClear 30, which is what I've got. The iClear 16. The iClear 30S, which is a nice one. And the iClear 30i. No, not iClear 30i. iClear XI. I got the 30 because that's the one my local vape I got. Earlier, I dropped this O-ring like a muppet off the end of here. There should be an O-ring on the end of that. It is a top filler, this one, because it is well, CE4 designed. It's got dual coil in it, so one going off on the top like that and one underneath it like that. There's 4 bits of wick sticking out of the post. Ohmage is reading at 2.10. That's what it comes as, the coil. I'm vaping at 78 drags, 11 watt, top end of the scale. So yeah, brilliant flavour. It actually isn't that bad. I do like the adjustable mouthpiece. Some people may find that annoying, but if you actually swivel the mouthpiece, because of the seal on it is so good, sometimes it will undo the top bit, so be careful with that. Obviously I haven't got the other beauty ring on it because I have misplaced mine in my magical drawer of vape stuff, as it were. So yeah, that's that. My nautilus. I'll move that out of the way. Comes in this nice sleeve, doesn't come with any plastic wrapping on, and the box just slides off. Instruction manual. If you don't know what you're doing, you haven't seen videos, read it. It will tell you all sorts of interesting shit about it, like what it's made from. Most importantly, how to fill it. I'm not going to run into detail because there's thousands and thousands of videos on how to do's and what to do's. It comes in English. It also comes in another language, I'm not sure which. Nope, this one's just English. It also shows you all the components of it, how to take it all apart. So obviously you've got your drip tip right at the top, then you've got the chimney, the Pyrex glass, your coil, and then the base. Also, something that isn't necessarily relevant, well, it is relevant, but not 100%. Because it has adjustable airflow, it actually tells you the size of the airflow holes, and also tells you how to adjust the airflow, which is on the bottom ring at the on the bottom of the vape, just before the crisscross etching that you'd use to take off your device. This is how it comes in the box. Obviously, I've filled it with liquid. It doesn't come with liquid in it. It also does not come with this rubber tip cover to stop it getting dirty. I've put them on there because whenever I leave them somewhere, or in my vape case, I always go out fishing, I always go out somewhere, and I always get dirt in it. There's a coil. When it comes, there is a coil already installed. It's all put together, and there's also a spare coil. Also, it comes with its own beauty ring, which I think, personal opinion, looks a lot better on said mod. What I'll do, I'll just pop this out. Hence why it's so tight fit, because that's not actually supposed to be there, so I'll take that off. But all you have to do is you go to your local vape guy, just ask if he has any rubber tops for your drip tips. Any spares, they'll usually give you them free. If not, you could probably buy a pack of 10 for something like £1. It's ridiculously cheap. Right, so that's it full of liquid. That's 5 millilitres of liquid in there. That will last you about 2 to 3 days easily. Also, what I was talking about earlier, the airflow, I'm actually turning the tank second to largest, second to smallest, smallest, back to the largest. Again, what I'll do is I'll hold up the air hole sizes. If you want to know the air hole sizes, pause the video anytime now so you can see them. That's the air hole sizes. Drip tip, removable, nice drip tip. Inside there you see that like clear rubbery thing, that's rubber, that's the seal. It goes all the way around the inside of the Pyrex glass. This will not leak. You will never get leaking in it unless you haven't screwed it in properly. Also, you can unscrew it from the top. One thing I am slightly annoyed about, I forgot that I was going to do this today, I filled it with liquid. I'm not going to be able to pull it apart for you, but there are other videos that show you how to pull it apart. I will say something, I think they've really done well on this tank. There's the pin. Nice, not adjustable. I think you have to adjust it from the inside, like get like a little tap of screw, like micro screwdriver, and tap it in there, push it down a bit. Unless it's not making connection, I would take it back to your vape guy, because at least if he messes it up, he's got to give you a new one. But yeah, I'll pop this on the set, I'll show you how it vapes. But one thing I would like to say, on the glass there is threads on it. Do not over tighten it, because it will shatter your glass. But one thing they've done to help prevent it is have the threads actually on the inside of the neck of the glass. Have the threads on the inside of the metal as well. So on the actual chimney post. So it makes it a lot harder. So instead of the pressure pushing in and clamping it shut, so it's more likely to shatter, it's just, well, it's pushing out instead. And it's, I believe, it's better for the stress resistance on the glass. Again, don't over tighten it, because you can still break them, they're not indestructible. Also, if you drop it, if the glass hits the floor, it is Pyrex glass, they still will break. You can get other tanks, so you can get half glass, half stainless steel one tank that I actually really like. I like the look of. I think they're about 15-20 quid a tank. If you're going for them ones, or you can just get the plain stainless steel, or you can get the stainless steel with the windows, so you can see how much liquid you got, or you can just get a plain stainless steel. I don't have the one that says Aspire on the side. I chose that myself because don't like, to be perfectly honest, it's a tank. I don't want Aspire written all over it. Even though I'm proud it's an Aspire one, because I love Aspire. Also, it doesn't have the gauge on the side, so I've just got to kind of do a bit of guesswork on how much liquid I've got left after a couple of days. This takes BDC coils, which is bottom dual coils. and BVC coils, which is bottom vertical coils. It will run them on both. I prefer BVCs. They seem to give better flavour. You can use them at a higher voltage. Just for your peace of mind, this in here, this is vacuum formed. If you're an engineer, you'll know what a vacuum form is. It's essentially just a plastic mould. There's nothing in the bottom of the box. That's the bottom, that's the top. Nothing else in there. Really nicely made box actually for what it is. I mean, that's really strong cardboard. Like, I'm giving that a good squeeze, and it's not really moving. Like, squeeze on the corners, it's not moving. And the way it goes on, it just floats down and floats out. I think they've got the airflow in. The adjustable airflow for the vape's good, and the adjustable airflow for the box is good. Actually, I'm going to stick it. There you go. It's brilliant. I'm going to stick the BVC on to show you how that runs. I mean, the iClear 30 I'm not too fussed about because they're free. This cost me £50. The whole thing, the battery, the charger, that whole box with the iClear stuff, 50 quid. Which came with the iClear 30. This is how I always have this vape. If I'm using this tank, that beauty ring. I think that looks damn good. I mean, sick as tits. Like, if you watch vape reviews, you'll know who I'm on about. This coil is reading at 1.8 ohm. I've had 79 drags, and it's on 11 watt. I'll explain to you how to get all the wattage and voltage up and turn it off and on in a minute. But first of all, let's see how she vapes. This is on biggest air hole, highest power. Let's give it a go. This is 18 milligram menthol. So it's quite strong. I can't chuck massive clouds because it'll make me cough my lungs out. But you know, it does the job. Also, my technique of doing it isn't very good. But that was just a semi-lung hit. I'll just do a mouth to lung like a normal smoker would. So, sorry, it's quite windy in here. Absolutely brilliant. Love it to pieces. Reason it isn't kicking out as much vape as it should is because earlier I put some really nasty liquid in there. I got some beer flavour, like Foster's, like the Aussie beer, Australians. That bit, that's what I mean by beer. It didn't taste that great. I didn't like it. I've emptied it back into my bottle of liquid. And I washed the coil out. It's obviously still got some water on the coil, so I'm just going to be vaping it throughout the video to try and get it off. It usually chucks out a lot more, but that's because I've drowned it in water. There's probably still water in the wick, and when the water vaporizes, it doesn't damage it. It just doesn't, like, it will vaporize the water. Just when you breathe it out, there'll be nothing there. It'll just condense in your mouth. But the way the Nautilus has been packaged, made, love it. Instruction manual, really helpful. I mean, Christ. I also love the picture on the box. I mean, that just says it all right there. That is just greatness, just as it is. Also on the back there are some warnings. It says no one under the age of 18 can use this. That is for legal purposes. I mean, they can't sell it to anyone under the age of 18, but it doesn't mean they can't use them. That is not necessarily true. They can use them, they just can't buy them. Also it says about pregnancy. Again, I mean, that's just a disclaimer so they can't get sued. I don't think it's a problem. I wouldn't think there would be a problem. I mean, the only ingredients in liquids are vegetable glycol and propylene glycol. So that's PG and your VG, and then your nicotine, and then your flavouring. As long as you've got decent ones of both, I can't see why there'd be a problem, but obviously not everyone can afford the top end brands. I mean, even I can't. But yeah, I mean, a lot better than smoking, always. The voltage on it, Right, well first I'm going to tell you how to read the ohms. There's two buttons here. The top button there has a P on it. That's for your voltage, and U is for your wattage. Okay? You press them both together, and it will come up with an A and a number. That A means ohms. Right. Ohms, this is running at 1.7 ohms. This will read the ohms of the coil, tell you what it's resisting at. This is good because if you don't, and you are into RDAs, because these are good for RDAs, I've been told that it runs all the way down to 0.8 ohm, which isn't very low for an RDA, but if you're just getting into it and you put the right coils in it, like microcoils, and you're running at the high voltage and you're using the right stuff, I mean, I can't see why it wouldn't work. But if you put a lower coil in there than that, I have been told things bad can happen. I mean, I've been told things like the batteries can blow up, they will just kill the battery, it will never hold charge again, it just won't work, the coil will blow up. I've been told so many different things. Whether it's true or not is a different matter, but I still wouldn't want to chance it. I mean, this is a LiPo battery, this is a, hang on, let me just read up on it here. It is a, I know it says it on here somewhere, I read it earlier. It's something ridiculously high, there you go, 2,600 milliamp per hour. It's a LiPo battery, and I mean it has all the features of it on the back. I'll run through some of them in a bit. There's a lot of, I mean, if you look at the LEVT, the waterproof, shockproof, flashlight mod, everyone's raving about it. I've been told it's shit, I've been told it's brilliant. I personally wanted to get one, but it was a nightmare getting hold of it because of, I'm not 18, I can't buy it on the internet. My parents were going to go, you know, I'm spending 80 quid on a vape battery, are you mad? But I wanted one, so a local vape guy, he knows me, I've been going there for nearly a year now, so he sells me stuff, keeps it on the quiet though. But I'm not going to name where I am or who I go to for his sake, because otherwise he could lose his market licence. But some of the features on it, the voltage, it goes from 3.3 volt to 5 volt in increments of 0.1 volt. This is exactly what it says on the box. I've tested it, it does go up in increments of 0.1. But on the voltage, it goes up between 6 volt and 12 volt, 6 watt and 12 watt, increments of 0.5 watts. The ohms monitor, it says, the ohms meter, it says, it's just telling you it reads the ohms. It just tells you that it reads the ohms. What else is relevant? Lithium battery as well. As I said earlier, 2,600 milliamp per hour battery, LiPo. So it's a good battery, it'll last you a long time. If you're not charging your products like your cameras and your phones off it, it will last you up to 3 days. Battery on off, shut off. Alright, so what that means is most batteries you have to click them 5 times. This one it's only 3, so it's 1, 2, 3, and it'll flash at you. Tells you it's off. It's child locked. But it will still let you charge your devices off it. The way you stop it charging your devices is this switch. It has an on-off button. I'm not going to turn it off because otherwise the camera will die. But you just flick it off, it will stop. Flick it on, it will charge again. Alright, turn it on. This is what it does. 1, 2, 3 again. I'm going to move my finger away because it's a nice little light show. So it goes red, yellow, green. And then it fires again. You can hear it's not crackling that loud. What I've also learned is if you're getting dry hits, I never have, just go down to the one less air, well, the smaller size air hole, one down, and what that'll do is the air pressure from you sucking will suck more liquid into the coil, therefore stopping the dry burn. That's better. The water's leaving the, yeah, I dried it out as best I could, but it will take a few drags. Also, it's got a 10-second cut off, so if you're holding the button for more than 10 seconds, it will automatically cut off. I've never done it, but I'm going to do it now. So I'm just going to hold the button for 10 seconds. It's probably going to make a horrible noise and probably going to taste burnt. Oh, I let go of it. It's probably going to taste burnt after this, and I'm probably going to regret it for a few hours, but, you know. And it should flash. There you go. Flashed, and it stopped. It's continuing flashing. Then afterwards, you can use it as normal. Yeah, it's got to pass through, whatever that means. With a 3-digit display. Basically, it shows you 3 digits. So obviously, when you go into your wattage mode, it's telling me how many drags I've had since I turned it off. It has 3 digits. Obviously, the 10, the 1, and the 0.0. It can also tell you up to 999 drags. If you don't turn it off and you just charge it and it stays on the whole time using it, it will tell you up until 999 drags, and then I don't know what it will do after that, because I don't think anyone's done it. If you have, or you know a video that has, please do it in the link in the script. Send me a message or something, because I'd actually quite like to see that. Yeah, just general information on the bottom. It's got some warnings. It's too small for me to read. I haven't got my bloody glasses. But yeah, that's the box. Plastic. I mean, at least you know if it's been dropped, because the plastic will shatter, and then you know you're not getting damaged vape. It's got some give in it as well, so I could see this taking a fair shock. You know, if it was still sealed, I would happily just chuck it at the floor, but it would just, because it's not, the lid will come off and it will look a lot worse than what it is. So that's that. Also with this, vape cases. Obviously I'm not going to unplug it, but when you put things like a Nautilus in there, it overhangs just about by the drip tip. So if you're going to put it in there, you either take off the drip tip and take the tank off, but it actually does fit in there perfectly. You just have to think, is my vape case actually thick enough? Yes it is. But obviously if you have things like liquids on the other side, it might be a bit harder to shut. Well, then that's up to you, what you want in your case. Also, always a good idea to have a spare tank. I like that feature, because if your main tank breaks for whatever reason, you drop it, you break the glass, or the coil dies and you ain't got money to replace it, you've got an emergency tank. All good vapors, or anyone that has had it happen to before, will have an emergency tank. In fact, I'm actually going to put this back in my vape case, in case anything happens. I'll just leave it full of liquid, or if you don't think it's going to go wrong anytime soon, just don't put any liquid in it. I'm putting liquid in it because I want to change from menthol. I can always put a new coil in it. But leave it in there, so if anything happens to your main tank, or you just fancy a change, you can. Also, an obvious point I haven't pointed out yet, which I probably should have, is an Ego style 510 threader. So it's got the 510 threading on the inside, Ego style on the outside, obviously, hence why this is on there. And you'll also notice at the bottom there is also another set of threads for their own beauty ring. It has its own threads and it actually fits flush with the mod and on the side, which I actually quite like. But there's no reason why you shouldn't have this beauty ring on there, because actually, in fact, I think it looks better with this one. Even despite them threads being there, you can barely even notice them, and I think that just adds a bit more curve to it. It just looks nicer. But I'll just check it's on the highest wattage again. Also, so you go up to 12, that's your highest wattage, you click it again, it will jump you in a loop round to 6. I like that, because you can only go up on the button. You try to go down, so I'm going to stick it in wattage. You're going to wattage, no voltage, sorry, or whatever you've clicked it to. And you can go down, and it will just send you around in a circle, so you have to go all the way around. Or you can go back up to voltage, and stick it back in 11 volt. And once you want it to stop, you tap the button and the screen will go blank, and that means it's locked into place. I also want to see lock it like the so I don't know if you can. On this, on the ELVT, when you hold the power button and these two buttons, it locks the mod. You can only fire it. I'm going to see if I can do that. No, it tells you the voltage, which I don't think is helpful, and it wipes the screen as well. It wipes your drags, resets it almost, so that's fine. It can't lock itself, but it doesn't matter because you have to hold that button to open it anyway, so it wouldn't make much of a difference. That's vaping a lot better now. You can hear that cracking. Much thicker, much better. I'm just going to stick it on the smallest air hole quick just to boost some liquid in there from where I dry burnt it. Probably wasn't a good idea, but no. There's no reason, if you're a mouth to lunger, if you're a vapour, you know what that is, take it in your mouth and then breathe it back. Why you can't use the smallest hole. There's a possibility of it going to gurgle at you, so I always suggest using the second to smallest, and if it is still going dry, use the smallest. Personal preference. I usually keep it on the biggest hole, uses a bit less liquid I find, but I'll do it on that and show you how it vapes. This is on 12 watt, so the highest this battery can go. Yeah, so absolutely brilliant. Vapour's really thick, really great flavour chucked out of it from the Nautilus. It doesn't have that wicky taste like some of the cheaper vapes you can buy. You buy really shit vapes sometimes, like the CE4 tanks. I mean, they were great when they were made. I mean, they've just been outdone now, I think. I'm going to stick back on my cream cake for a bit. There's no actual reason apart from I just don't like the look of it. Ooh, I dropped the beauty ring. I always keep it off unless I've got the beauty ring provided with the vape. Obviously it's up in my vape drawer upstairs, I can't be asked to go get it. I find if you screw it all the way down tight, the drawer on it's really tight. If you just have it so it's just connecting, not only will you not push the pin in, you'll get more airflow. It's easier to draw on, especially if you're doing lung hits. This is not a lung hitting battery, not a battery, a tank. I wouldn't suggest it, but it's good for trialling new liquids. I'm just going to blow a couple good clouds with it. With this tank now, I'll go back onto the Nautilus, blow a couple clouds, show you what it can do. Would I have purchased it if I had no idea about it? No, I'd call you crazy. If someone came up to me and I had no idea about these, I was new to vaping, and they said, oh, you can buy this setup for the setup I've got for £80, I'd call them crazy. I'd say I'd rather buy that one because it's cheaper. Speaking from experience, buying the most cheap thing you can find is probably the worst thing you could possibly do. I know I'm probably going to get some controversy about that, but this isn't my tank, this is my friend's. This is the Tango. It takes the same coils as the Kanga. Now, there's nothing wrong with it. It's a brilliant tank. I mean, actually, I'll show you quick. It's absolutely brilliant tank. These are good for your G-hit VVs, yeah, your voltage batteries, up to 4.8 I'd say, but there's no reason why you couldn't put it on a mod. I mean, sorry, it's gurgling a bit, but it's fine. There's no reason why you shouldn't put it on a mod. Airflow's fine. Yeah, just spat at me. Yeah, because we've left it standing up for a couple hours. I don't understand why you wouldn't, but this one from the Eastleigh Vape Guy, on there every Saturday and Thursday, down in Eastleigh Market. Go check him out, he's good, he'll point you in the right direction. He hasn't done me wrong. I think this tank takes 1.6 millilitres of liquid, and we have used these before. They can last you a fairly long time. Like I said, it takes the Kanga coils, so that's good. You can always put a lower resistance, higher resistance, whatever you want to put on it. Obviously you've seen me use this, I'm not going to fuss about that one too much. I'm really more interested in the Nautilus because of the features of the airflow. What I'm going to do is leave it on full power. I'm going to take a few drags. What I'm going to do is I'm going to start with the smallest air hole so you can see what I'm doing. And then it will jump straight to the largest air hole, and then it will go down from, actually no, I'll start on the largest and go down in order. So this is the largest air hole. I'll sit over here so I can blow it off that way, because there's nothing worse when someone goes, look how much vape I can do. Blows it off completely off the camera. It's like, what are you doing? I also know there's a white background, fairly white behind me. It can mess with the seeing the vape. But yeah, I'll take a vape. It's on 12 watt, air hole, full open. Let's give it a go. Absolutely kicks the vapour out. If someone told me this tank was crap, it was no good, it was rubbish, I'd want them tested for mental illness, because I've had mine 3 days, 2-3 days. My brother's had his for nearly a month, and we have not ran into a single problem with them. Actually, the only problem, and that's actually our fault, is when we wash them. You boil the kettle. You obviously, any liquid that's already in the tank, you put back in your bottle if you want to keep it. If not, chuck it down the sink and wash the sink through. You pull everything apart as far as it can go. Obviously, it'll tell you in the instruction manual how to pull it apart. And you put it into a kettle, not into a kettle, into a cup, and you pour boiling water over it, and you leave it for about 10 minutes, soaking in the water. Same with the coil. If you want to reuse the coil, do that. Leave it in there for 10 minutes, give it a little stir, or just swirl it around, and then go over to the draining board and just tip it onto the draining board slowly so you don't damage the glass on the Pyrex tank. And because of the heat, all the metal will be very hot. So just make sure you've got most of the drips out. Don't screw it all back together. And wait until it cools off a bit, until it's warm, but you can hold it without going, because I was picking up the metal bits and I ended up dropping it on the floor and getting it dirty again from not realising actually how well metal conducts heat. But yeah, do that, especially with the coil. You want to dry it out. Get some tissue, roll it up into a nice little point and just dab the coil. Once it's as dry as you can get it, screw it all back together, put liquid in it and just treat it as a new vape, and you can make your coils last twice as long. This is the second to largest air hole. I'm going to take a vape on this. I'll show you what I can do. Absolutely, it's a little bit thicker. I like it. It's a bit. The cloud is thicker. Obviously, as you go down, the less air to vape ratio, it's going to be thicker. But that's a big jump from what it was. Now, the second to smallest air hole. There are 4 sizes of air holes. This is the second to smallest. I don't know the exact size of it. If you wanted to know, check out the bit where I held the paper up. But this is what this one can do. That's just as good. That's more for your mouth to lung hits, but that's brilliant. Now a smallest air hole. Now this is going to drag some liquid through. It can clog up your coil. Hasn't to me yet, but I use it on wide open. If it goes dry, I'll do 2 or 3 drags on the smallest air hole and then go back to wide open. This is what this one does. This is the smallest air hole. That one's just as good. Like I said, there's absolutely no reason why you shouldn't get one of these. If you're into vaping, you're tired of getting stuff that doesn't cost as much, but you have to keep replacing. Definitely. Obviously, because my brother works at the vape shop, I get it a bit cheaper. He owed me a bit of money anyway. He sells the tanks, personally, for £25. That's everything that I've showed you for this tank. He sells these batteries for £50, so that's everything I've showed you on this battery, and it comes with this tank. They don't come with any liquid. If you want to buy liquid, he sells it for £4.50 a bottle, or £3 for three bottles of liquid for £10. So you are saving money if you buy them in a larger quantity. He also, I've pulled off the Ego sticker because it just annoyed me, but he sells his vape cases, good cases. It's got 2 zips on it, so you can either have it both wide open, or depends on what end you want the zips on. You've got your liquid holders or your coil holders or whatever you want to put in it. I don't know if you can see that because it's black, but there's a netted bit here to put your battery in, and 2 like circular, there you go, you can see through it. It's like on the back of the case, like that. It's like a loop of elastic. You put the top of your tank through it, or your battery, you thread it down through if you're using a small round Ego battery or whatever battery you're using, like G-Hif EV, and they'll sit in there perfectly, they won't go anywhere. But what I do like for this mod, so I'm obviously not going to put it in the way I was hoping to because of the charger. I'll put it in upside down. It fits in there. There you go, you can see it better now. It fits in there perfectly. It's nice and tight. Isn't really going anywhere. And you've got enough room as well to put whatever in there as well. It's all up to you how you arrange your vape case. Threads on them. I hear a lot of people moaning about the threads. They say, oh, when I bought that tank, the threads came out the factory, out of the box. They were all dirty, I had to clean them. On the Aspire, they were immaculate. I mean, there was not a speck on them. Same with the Itaste battery. Both of the threads on either one, absolutely immaculate. Didn't have a speck of dirt in there. Sorry, the wind's blowing the door. It's starting to annoy me. Absolutely brilliant. The drip tip as well. It comes in, or it comes out. It goes in. It doesn't actually snap in, but it's got some good force behind it to keep it in there. That's because the rubber, the O-ring on it, it's a nice tight fit. There you go, it snapped in. Brilliant drip tip, doesn't wobble at all. Tank, fairly, I mean it's glass, what can you expect? Stronger than most glass, obviously because it's Pyrex and the way the tank's designed. Brilliant, it takes BDC coils and BVCs. I suggest using either or. Personally I suggest using the BVCs because you can use them at higher voltage. You can use them easily at a higher voltage than a BDC. BDCs, you don't want to be using them much higher than 4.8 for a few drags and then they go burn. Comfortably I'd use them at about 4 volt. On these BVCs they take anywhere up to 6 volt, that's 15 watts of power. And they'll still be fine, they can do that without breaking a sweat. But yeah, other than that, just a quick glance at the bottom. You've got your USB port which is plugged in. You've got that port, which is the bit where you charge your vape from, and then you've got the switch. It's a real nice clicky switch. Really nice clicky switch. Same with the button. You can hear that. Real nice clicky button. Really solid. Really doesn't rattle. That's the wire hitting the table. It doesn't rattle. There's nothing in there loose. Really solid. Feels really good in your hand. It always stays cold. I mean, the only time it's heated up is when I'm chain vaping and it's getting hot in my hand because my hand's heating it up. If you leave it on a table or sit outside for a bit at like 8 o'clock in the evening, you pick it up, you think, Christ, have I just picked up an ice cube? It gets so cold. I'm surprised it doesn't freeze, but that's all to do with the design of it. But yeah, I'm going to take one last vape, show you what it can do with the air holes wide open, voltage right up. Absolutely brilliant mod, and tank, definitely suggest getting one. And I'll see you guys soon.